You're all doing well. This is RJ, live here in Surry County, Virginia, here at the Surry County Confederate Memorial that's being reassembled after it was removed by the county board about 5 years ago. I want to share with you this update. I've been trying to track this over a period of time. This is the first time I've seen it since I last visited and saw it back actually in its original location where it should have remained there in front of the county courthouse. I saw it about 6 years ago, before all that crazy leftist, Mayo, Bolshevik, council culture woke mania took place, and people lost their minds and started removing beautiful war memorials from the local that was dedicated to the local citizens. So I want to share with you the update of this. So this Surry County Confederate Memorial was well over 100 years old. It's in parts, slowly being reassembled. There's many parts involved, and they're about 2/3 of the way done. It takes a lot of time and effort. I'm going to share with you what happened to the memorial during the move, and also share with you that I'll go walk down here and show you the other part that needs to be added here in just a little bit. Now, the Surry County Board of Supervisors decided to remove it. They did it right immediately after that far extremist leftist Governor Northam removed all the protection laws for the memorials like this. And they immediately had a hearing. They immediately did a vote to remove it, and took everybody by surprise. Immediately removed it just 2 days later without any notice or any notification to anybody. And so clearly they knew, they had their minds made up. They were going to remove this regardless of what anybody said. So they immediately threw it in storage. I had heard that the wrecking, the removal, disassembly team were reckless and careless, did not put any effort or time to maintain or care for any of the parts they're removing. They just threw them on there without any padding or protection at all, and caused damage. And I can see what people are saying now. I can see the damage, and I'm going to share that with you. And they, ultimately, the only silver lining, the main silver lining, is they gave it to the SCV. But the county wasn't going to help them at all. They completely wanted to wipe their hands, and they didn't provide any funding. They said all the removal, their stipulation was they removed the monument immediately, just 2 days after they voted on it from the courthouse grounds. And they said, okay, SCV, we'll give it to you, but you've got 60 days to remove it, and it's completely coming out of your pocket. The county didn't provide anything, did not help with 1 cent for helping reassemble this. Well, then all the responsibility goes to the good folks who have to, and the SCV and others who are, have got jobs, they're busy, slowly reassembling this. And so they are, it just takes time. So I really appreciate all those people, mechanized cavalry, part of the SCV, who are slowly assembling this and doing the best they can to reassemble it. So sharing with you what happened, that removal crew caused some damage along the way. So you can see right here the damage done during the removal. Who knows if that can ever be fixed or not? Hard to tell. Maybe it could be filled in at some point. You can see some more of the other gaps, some more of the other damage that was done. Reminds me a little bit of the Virginia Beach one. There's still screws stuck in that today. The removal crew just drilled holes into the granite and just put screws in it and have just left them there. And it's very difficult to remove. Some more damage through here. So far I got to this stage. Very impressive they made this much progress at this point, but definitely little damage done here and there. just talking to Mike today, and who's helping lead this effort. We need more folks, good folks like him, who are making this possible. He's part of the mechanized cavalry, and he's been a strong patriot for the Southern cause for a long time. We owe him a debt of gratitude for many, many years to come. And all the other people who help support and volunteer and come out here to make to build this up and to try to beautify this place. He said he'd come back out here to add some more parts, thinking that this might be next. Maybe this part is going on next, or maybe it's this part. I'm trying to remember which one. So I'm thinking maybe this goes next, then that, and then the block that's over there. Or maybe I have it. Oh no, maybe that's on top. I better stop guessing. I need to put more thought into that. But you can see the screws from the disassembly. They drilled in, added these bolts. That was parted to remove this, and they just leave it like that, right? They don't care. That's just how they remove it. So at some point, the effort needs to be made to remove those screws and try to restore it the best as possible. But it takes some time, money, effort. That's why I'm hoping that some people can help them out. I'm sure they would really appreciate it. Here's the cannonballs that were on the right off to the side of the monument. I remember seeing these there. These are pretty solid. But neat little decoration on the outside. So those will eventually be placed right around the sides there. Now I'm going to make a transition over here to the main piece. Now this memorial right here was a lot of the memorials and monuments that were spearheaded, and the key fundraisers were the United Daughters Confederacy, who collected the funds and the donations, and I really appreciate them for doing that. And they have not only created and collected the funds and raised money and created monuments for Confederate veterans, but I've also seen monuments from the United Daughters Confederacy for World War I vets, and also World War II vets, and others. So here's a part that needs to be placed, and you can imagine how heavy this block of stone is right here. And it says on the side that we, through life, may not forget to love the thin gray line. I just can't help to think of how different this generation is from that generation. This was created back when people say, may we not forget. Let's not forget. Let's have these memorials. Let's remember their service. Let's appreciate the veterans. Let's not forget, lest we forget. This generation, those cancel culture board of supervisors, they just want to forget. They just want to get rid of it. They don't want anybody to know. There's no reminder at all. They're the ones behind the purge, the censorship, the purging, the historical markers, and the books from the libraries and so forth. And also this statement right here, to love. Those people who removed this had no love in their heart. They just have cold, dead hearts. Just cruel. And this is simply dedicated to the soldiers of Surry County. Once again, Surry County, this is one among the earliest settled areas of all of America. Surry County butts up to James River. Right across the James River is Jamestown, James River as well. So the county courthouse is really only about 4 to 5 miles from here. James River's maybe a half mile to a mile from here. And right across the James River is Jamestown, right? The first settlement of Virginia. So this is the birthplace of America. First shires, the early versions of the counties were in this area. In fact, the oldest continuously used courthouse in America is over in King William. And that courthouse has been used since 1725, a whole 50 years before the Declaration of Independence. And there's a beautiful Confederate monument right there in the middle of the court square. And I appreciate them for keeping that there. It's very important because they lost so much of their population. The people were just devastated from the war. On this side, beautiful engraving, or feature of a lot of people think this is not American, but this is about as American a flag as you can get. In fact, it wasn't too long ago, I was over there at the official U.S. government store at Thomas Jefferson's Memorial, and I picked up a guide for maps. It was a guide that says famous American flags, and it lists out and it showed images of famous American flags, and this was one of them. The Confederate flag was one of the famous American flags. After all, it represents the Confederate States of America, and these were Americans that were here. Just want to be left alone. On this side, this is erected by the Confederate Memorial Association of Surry back in 1909. So once again, this was not spearheaded, was not funded, was not led by the United Daughters Confederacy in this case. It was more of an association. It could have been anybody in town who said, hey, let's get together, have an association, let's have a monument here. So I'm glad they did that. So you can imagine, it's going to be challenging. They're going to have to move this and place it on top of here sometime soon. So they made a lot of progress on this overall plans, but I'm hoping they beautify this, and I'm sure they will. Similar to the video I shared yesterday at Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach had the same kind of fate. The county board voted to remove it. It was moved to private property, and slowly but surely, the property is improving. So last time I was there, it was a year ago, and you could tell it was just after it had been relocated. I just returned yesterday, and there was so many improvements. Road was better. They removed a bunch of bushes. They did a lot of landscaping. They added some more informational, added some plaques, cleared it out, putting some grass around it. It improved a lot in a year. Impressive for, it's because these are just people who have ordinary jobs and just go out there to beautify it on their own free time. So I appreciate the SCV, Mechanized Cavalry, or the Rose, UC, or whoever goes out there to help out. Now, this is one of those cases where at the Virginia Beach, for Virginia Beach, when they're going to remove that, the Shenandoah Valley Preservation Trust offered to take it. And that's a fully recognized preservation group, kind of like the Civil War Trust or the American Battlefield Foundation, American Battlefield Trust. And they did. So that monument over there is actually owned in Virginia Beach by the Shenandoah Valley Battlefield Trust, which is interesting because it's not even by the Shenandoah Valley at all. Almost all their efforts are actually in the Shenandoah Valley. But they do like to preserve memorials and monuments too. And they have, for example, the Shenandoah Valley did take the monument that was over in Easton, Maryland, the Talbot boys, and they moved it to Shenandoah Valley and the battlefield. Same thing with the Charlottesville Monument. The Charlottesville Monument was relocated from the Albemarle County Courthouse grounds to the New Market Battlefield. So it's out there. So it is owned by the Shenandoah Valley. Well, Shenandoah Valley also put a bid in to own this as well. But apparently their application was too late and they missed it. And the ownership went to the SCV instead. And there was some stipulations when it was placed here. It was supposed to be always, accessible to public. And I know they're working on this. This is private. This is a very rural area, very quiet, very peaceful. Just an occasional passing car, not very often, coming through here. You got to know where to look for it. Maybe they'll have signs down the road pointing to it someday, because after all, this memorial right here represents the people from this entire county, and it's here on the outskirts of town, full 4 or 5 miles from the county courthouse. It deserved to be right there in town, but now it's out here in the rural area. But I'm sure maybe at some point people get familiar with this, and I'm sure they're going to try to beautify this at some point. Maybe do some things like they did over there in Abington, Virginia, when they moved that monument over there. They relocated it. They put a nice landing. They put lights. They could put some flags there. They could put some informationals there and so forth. And that's what they're planning on doing at Virginia Beach too. I was talking to them, and they're saying they're going to, at some point, hopefully put a flagpole or a couple flagpoles there and put a nice walkway there. Right now, it has not even been dedicated. The monument over there in Virginia Beach has not been dedicated yet. In fact, the entry to there have keep out and no trespassing signs. So, very few people have actually visited it. But at some point, they're going to remove those and make it available to the public, I'm sure, after they dedicate it. But they're trying to get it ready in the meantime. And I'm sure they're going to try to do the same thing here. But it just takes time. But, if people are just patient, contribute, help out, great things can be done. That's why I contribute a little bit to things like Lee Jackson Park. That's over there just north of Lexington. And it's a park that they have a mega flag, Confederate battle flag right off of I-81 out there. And they have a larger-than-life statue of Stonewall Jackson, a large statue of Robert E. Lee out there as well. Oh, good, the flag's flying. All right. It's been kind of rainy for the last several hours. And I really like what they're doing out there. And it's a place where other monuments can go. They're one of the camps there, the Gordonville Grays, is trying to do a replica of the Robert E. Lee monument that was on Monument Avenue. And they're planning on putting it there. So I donate a little bit per month to that. Same thing with Valor Park. Big fan of Valor Park. They have 3 monuments over there in Valor Park and by Denton, North Carolina. That all started when they were removing the Lexington, North Carolina monument, and they needed a place for it. So somebody said, "Hey, okay, we'll go find some property." They got 2 acres, and they reassembled the monument there, just inside the county line. And people came out of the woodworks just to help out, to help donate their time. They helped pour the concrete and build the fences and do the landscaping and come out and mow and put up the fencing and park benches and put up a flagpole. And every time I go over there, it keeps getting better and better and better. And then when they went to go remove the monument in Pittsboro, the one that was in Pittsboro, North Carolina, well, there was a park that was ready to take it up. That Valor Park is a 501c nonprofit. And so it was transferred over there. And then there was 2 monuments. And then the Winston-Salem monument was removed also years ago. It had been in storage for years, like a good 4 years. And they also finally reassembled it over there just last year. So now it's got 3 monuments. And no surprise if there's going to be more. Fully expecting there's going to be more monuments there at some point because North Carolina has just got rotted to the core in the central part. Bunch of woke. There's just no more appreciation for its history, especially in the central part of North Carolina. Now, the east side and the west side, I love that. I love those parts of North Carolina. So I'm just saying it's another way of saying it just takes time, it takes effort, and keep in mind that sometimes it takes a long time. So, for example, the live video I just shared from Elmwood Cemetery over there in Norfolk, it was incredible because the actual lead person on the committee to have a Confederate monument was Robert E. Lee's former aide, his adjutant, who was his aide de camp. And that was Walter Taylor. And Walter Taylor was put on as the chief for that committee. He started that in 1885. Well, that monument wasn't dedicated until 1907. So it took over 20 years to finally collect the money, get everything straightened out so they could finally erect that monument there. It just takes time. Not too long ago, I was at a town in South Carolina, and the monument wasn't erected until 40 years after the first funds were collected, the first donations. And a lot of these were just nickels and dimes, small, little bit by little. And that's what they're doing over in Gordonville Grays for recreating the Robert E. Lee Monument, because after all, that would cost potentially millions, right? And last I talked to them, they have saved up about $100,000 so far to recreate the Robert E. Lee Monument. Maybe they can do a GoFundMe or something else, but it just takes time to collect enough funds to create something like that. Well, the main gist of this is I wanted to share with you the update of the Surry, Virginia monument and what state it's in right now. Once again, removed way back in 2020, put in storage very briefly. County says you better pick the stuff up right now at your own cost, your own expense. They brought it out here, and slowly but surely, people are trying to reassemble it, just a little bit by little. So it's taken a couple years for it to get to this point. I remember a few years ago when they were pouring the concrete, right? It's not an easy task. They know this thing weighs many, many tons. And just to have a foundation, it takes a lot of time. But hopefully at some point, I'm sure they have plans. Maybe they can have a nice landing through here, maybe a little walkway, maybe some park benches. Who knows? Something. Because after all, I think this is the most special memorial, most relics or artifacts in the entire county of Surry County. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up for now. Once again, out here in this really very peaceful, quiet, serene landscape, especially right now with just a light rain. Very quiet. This is far away from the town, far away from any highways. It's very quiet, so all I hear really is the light winds, birds, a few insects, and the rustling of the leaves, and the raindrops falling on the leaves. So it is a peaceful place. All right, just want to share this with you. I've been meaning to get out here. It's been on my to-do list for quite a while to come out here and see this, and I wish I could help them out more. This is hours from my home, though. But fully support, and if anything, I know they would appreciate donations of support or any volunteers to come out. I'm not in the business of collecting money or being the middleman or anything else. I just like to go visit historic sites and pass this along and turn these videos on so I can share this with all of you, bring attention, help document it. And hey, instead of me talking to myself, I can talk to y'all. So I hope you're all doing well. So take care, y'all, from Surry County. We're on the edge of the James River, the old original part of America. Read all your comments later. Hope you enjoy the week. Take care.